the foreword, which is given by Dr. Vaishnavangiri Sevak Das, Director of the Bhakti Vedant College of Vedic Education, Navi Mumbai, Kharkar. Dr. Vaishnavangiri Sevak Das, in his foreword, he says, in an age where information is abundant, but inner wisdom is scarce, the path of inner leadership, lessons from the Bhagavad Gita in 108 corporate stories arrives as a book of quiet brilliance. It reawakens the timeless conversation between knowledge and conscience, between the demands of modern life and the voice of the eternal. Dr. Prem Prakash Pathak has done something remarkable. He has taken the sacred dialogue of Sri Krishna and Arjun and rendered it through the eyes of a contemporary professional. His protagonist, Prem, is not a warrior on a battlefield, but a safety officer in a modern organization, responsible, reflective, and human. Through his mentor Govindji, the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita reappears not as ancient scripture, but as living guidance for decision making, leadership, and personal transformation. The format of 108 short stories makes this work uniquely accessible. Each story stands on its own, yet together they form a continuous journey from confusion to clarity, from control to surrender. Dr. Pathak's writing bridges three essential dimensions, which is education, culture, and devotion, inviting the reader to rediscover leadership as a moral and spiritual practice, not merely as a professional role. I commend Dr. Pathak for completing his work with sincerity, scholarship, and humility. It is a book to be read slowly, reflected upon deeply, and lived through daily. May it inspire many readers to look within, to lead with wisdom, and to act with compassion, the true hallmarks of inner leadership. This is Dr. Vaishnavangiri Sevak Das, Director of the Bhakti Vedant College of Vedic Education, Navi Mumbai, Kharkar. Now let us read the Acknowledgement by Dr. Prem Prakash Pathak, because without this, this book will really not have an impact on us. So, Dr. Prem Prakash Pathak, in his acknowledgement, he says, this work is offered with deep gratitude to all those whose guidance, blessings, and love have shaped its creation. Dr. Prem Prakash Pathak says, I first wish to thank Dr. Vaishnavangiri Sevak Das, Director of the Bhakti Vedant College of Vedic Education, whose inspiration encouraged me to explore leadership through the lens of the Indian knowledge system. It was he who graciously shared a curated list of 108 selected verses from the Bhagavad Gita, each one a doorway to deeper insight. That list became the foundation for this book's narrative arc, transforming timeless wisdom into modern leadership stories. I am equally grateful to His Grace Sura Das, Temple President of ISKCON Mumbai and Chairman of the Bhaktivedanta College of Vedic Education, whose blessings have strengthened my resolve. My heartfelt homage goes to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedant Swami Prabhupada, the world's foremost leader who demonstrated unparalleled leadership by spreading the Bhakti movement across the globe and fulfilling the prophecy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It was his mercy and vision that proved how one empowered leader can transform the lives of millions. Dr. Prem Prakash Pathak further says, I also bow in gratitude to His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami, the International Director of the Bhaktivedanta Institute, whose writings and conversations with eminent scientists brought a spiritual revolution within the global scientific community. Then Dr. Prem Prakash Pathak says, my sincere thanks to His Grace Harimohan Das of Lucknow, who taught me how to approach and study the Bhagavad Gita with devotion and reflection. Above all, I express my deepest gratitude to my spiritual master, His Holiness Radha Govind Das Goswami Maharaj, who first blessed me by instructing to read the Bhagavad Gita, planting the seed of wisdom that continues to guide every step of my journey. Finally, I thank my friends, well wishers, and above all, my family, my parents, my wife, my son Gaur Haridas, and my daughter Aditi for their unwavering love, encouragement, and sacrifices that they make for my services possible. To all of you, I remain eternally indebted. This was Dr. Prem Prakash Pathak. Now let's begin with the preface of the book. In May 2024, I received a list of 108 topics from the Bhagavad Gita from Dr. Vaishnavangiri Sevak Das Prabhuji. He mentioned that he had shared the same task with several others as well as, but somehow it remained unfinished. The vision was to write brief case studies that brought out the three dimensions of the Gita: education, culture, and devotion, showing how divine wisdom can illuminate everyday life. At that time, I began working on it in small steps, but as other projects grew, this effort was set aside. Yet, it never truly left me. The thought stayed quietly in my heart, unfinished but not forgotten. Months later, after completing my book Lead, a leadership framework from the Indian knowledge system, I found the inspiration to return to this work with renewed clarity. In Lead, I explored how the principles of Lok Sangraha, which is collective welfare, equanimity, association, ashray, guidance, dharm, duty, direction, and daman, self restraint, shape leadership rooted in Gita's spirit. That exploration became the bridge that led me back to these 108 teachings. This time, not an abstract reflections, but as living lessons woven into human experience. Dr. Prem Prakash Pathak says, I chose to tell these stories through the life of Prem, a safety officer, because in the world of safety, every decision carries weight. sometimes between life and death. Each action demands not just technical precision, but deep awareness, discipline, and compassion. In many ways, the principles of safety reflect the very essence of dharma. For safety is not mere compliance, it is care, it is dharma in motion. And as the Gita reveals, dharma is never separate from devotion. The Bhagavad Gita is not a generic book of philosophy, it is a divine dialogue spoken by Sri Krishna himself. It is a call to awaken Arjun and each of us to our eternal identity as souls meant to act with love, in service, and in awareness of the higher purpose that guides all life. Every verse is an invitation to act without attachment, to lead without ego, and to remember that all outcomes ultimately belong to Him. Yet for many, the Gita feels distant, difficult to apply in the rush of modern life. So I sought to bring its light closer to the workplace, the home, and the heart through 108 corporate yet contemplative stories. Each one reveals how Krishna's timeless teachings unfold in the dilemmas, decisions, and discoveries of our everyday challenges. In these pages, Prem represents the seeker within us, curious, conflicted, sincere. Govindji, his mentor, embodies Ashray, the guiding presence whose wisdom transforms daily struggles into spiritual insight. Together, their conversations bridge the practical and the profound, showing that spirituality does not begin when work ends. It begins when work itself becomes worship. Each story concludes with a moment of reflection, a pause to internalize the message, because ultimately, every protocol, every choice, every lesson is not just about safety, it is about spiritual clarity. Dr. Prem Prakash Pathak says, I invite you to read these stories not as fiction but as mirrors. Let them remind you that the Gita is not confined to the temples or scriptures. It lives in the boardroom, in the lab, in the plant, in the classroom, wherever duty calls and conscience whispers. When seen through that lens, every task becomes sacred and every challenge becomes an opportunity to remember who we truly are. At the same time, it is important to remember that the true and complete commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita have been written by the great acharyas of our tradition. This book is not a substitute for those profound works. It is merely a doorway, a small attempt to awaken a desire to read them. If these 108 stories can kindle even a spark of inspiration in your heart, imagine how deeply you will be moved by reading the original purports of those empowered teachers, especially His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedant Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is. Dr. Prem Prakash Pathak concludes by saying, may these reflections guide you toward the deeper study where the Gita's eternal message is not just understood but experienced. So, this is the desire and inner wish of Dr. Prem Prakash Pathak while writing the book, The Path of Inner Leadership.